stupid is that?
Well, here's the thing, and I've been doing a lot of research since 4 a.m, so I'm not that sharp today. But even in the scary old pseudo-handmade tale days, and I know it's a post-apocalyptic future, but I stopped watching after episode 2, okay? Hold your hate mail. I couldn't do it when they were saying, like, slut shame, slut shame, slut shame. Was that what they were saying? Shame. They were shouting shame, 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 shame. I'm like, what? She was banging Don Draper. That's where I know her. And she was the president's daughter. No one out there cares about getting a pass. This one leftist was tweeting on Twitter like, oh, so now we're gonna have laws about men are gonna decide what we do with their pap smears how often. Well, hold on a second. Oh. Why do you think it is that none of us care about any of those things? Because a vasectomy is not ending a heartbeat. By the way, not yours, another heartbeat. So let me ask you this. If we all acknowledge when we're talking about a heartbeat, Bill, okay, that you're stopping a heartbeat, and it's not the mom's heartbeat. The mom doesn't have 2 hearts. She's not a medical marvel. At least most of them, right?
Well, I would think
Dr.
so.
Ben Carson isn't having to come in and separate all of them. So my question to you is, if you're ending a heartbeat, whose heartbeat are you ending? Yeah. And can you point me to any instance, any example, where a man can legally stop the heartbeat of another human being, innocent, nonviolent, let's not get into war here. Can you name me any example? More importantly, can you name me one example that would allow men to do that exclusively? Meaning men would be allowed to stop someone else's heartbeat and women wouldn't be. That's the only way that your argument holds water. Yeah. All states place restrictions, or most states place restrictions, regulations on abortions outside of the federal purview. Texas, they wanted to ban abortion after 20 weeks. Yeah. Which Elizabeth Warren famously opposed because she's a moral lady. Everyone has the hill they're willing to die on. What's yours? The hill littered with dead babies. Yeah, it's the dying hill. That's why I thought it was most appropriate. The hill I want to die on is the dying hill. There've only been 2 recorded incidents of women being charged with any kind of crime associated with their abortion. Yeah. Okay, one was in 1911 and one was in 1922. Unless I'm wrong about this, throughout the entire history of Anglo-American Western law, only one woman was ever charged with the crime of self-abortion. That specific crime, 1599. You have to go back to the 1500s. No woman ever in the history of modern Western law, as far as I know, let me know if I'm wrong, has been charged with a crime for miscarrying. Yeah, I've not seen it. Do you know if again? 1599, one time. At one point he was, well, you know what, maybe before Roe v. Wade, people weren't being locked in a slammer because they were taking a pill. That's not what was happening.
If you have a legitimate concern about people performing self-abortions, let's say that you see abortion as one of those options so that they can do it in a safe, clean environment, but you should also be in favor of the other ways to prevent abortions from happening or being necessary, such as abstinence or through other means. Contraceptives, that type of thing. And so, I get it. There's definitely going to be some on the right who have said that they're against contraceptives because it encourages sex, and that's one view.
It's not a mainstream view.
It's not a mainstream view. Yeah. But that's the point, is that but it's not okay to be in favor of abstinence or to say that abstinence is a legitimate way to not have to have an abortion.
Yeah, it's the only legitimate way. It's the only guarantee.
It's the only guarantee.
They're like, abstinence only doesn't work. Abstinence only works. Yeah. Right. I think you're confusing. You're moving the words around. Now, I'm not saying we only teach people about abstinence, but if you do want to teach them the only way to avoid an STD, STI, or unplanned pregnancy, the only way is abstinence.
It's guaranteed.
Nothing else is foolproof.
And thank you, Alyssa Milano, for the sex strike. That's fantastic. She is saving people from having to have abortions right now.
Lubriderm and old episodes of Charm for her husband. This is something I think people don't understand. We have pretty liberal laws regarding abortion. The majority of European countries actually have abortion bans after 12 weeks, and a lot of them require a waiting period after consulting with a doctor.
Yeah, well, I mean, God forbid you have to wait 5 days before you potentially end a human life. And so there was some really cool, just stay with me for a second. Gallup did some really interesting studies on this. Everybody thinks that the abortion is, pro-choice is by far the thing that people want. No, it's really about 48-48 right now.
And even then, that's using the most broad terminology.
In the broad terminology, right. So if you drill down, people actually say that they would rather have it legal under some circumstances. And the people that are in favor, 50%, roughly 50%, some circumstances. Around 29% say under any. So that's even a smaller group. The people that say under certain circumstances, 38% of that group plus throughout history, back into the early 90s, said in very limited situations. if you drill down into the numbers, there are not that many people out there who actually favor, under any circumstance, abortions.
Right.
But the media makes you think
They're just on
people
Twitter.
Well, that's just in the
people just
plus or
want it.
minus margin of error, and really just Elizabeth Warren with a meat cleaver and a baby at the end of the table. We eliminated her. It skewed the polling data.
Jeez.
By the way, I
Yeah.
want to make sure that I'm clear. That context of the first Elizabeth Warren clip, she was talking about parents who had a late-term abortion because the baby was going to have a congenital, I believe, a heart defect.
Yeah.
So I don't want to be accused of taking her out of context. Here's the thing. It doesn't matter. It's not a constitutional right.
doesn't
By the way,
exist.
well, these are the same people who don't believe in the constitutional right to keep and bear arms, which actually is a constitutional right.
It's actually spelled out.
When we're talking about amendments, it's number 2, right next to number 1, which includes, by
Right
the
at the
way,
top.
freedom of speech, which you also don't believe in. So you're literally stepping, you've heard of stepping over dollars to pick up pennies? You're stepping over rights to grab ones that don't exist. Like, freedom of speech, let's move that over here, right to bear arms. I don't really like it because David Hogg was in a Michael Moore film. 14th Amendment, right to privacy, therefore you can have an abortion at 32 weeks, says Elizabeth Warren. This one I'm pretty confident on.
Oh my gosh.
Can you think of any issue today where, as a woman, you are told you're not allowed to have an opinion exclusively because you're a woman? If we're going to say, oh, if it were vasectomies, men could do it. Well, hold on a second. No, men are not allowed to stop another human being's heartbeat. In any instance, the only people who are allowed to do that are women. It's an exception to the rule. The only exception where it's permissible to end another autonomous being's heartbeat is for women. So let me ask you on the flip side, are you ever told as a woman that you cannot hold an opinion or you are not entitled to an opinion exclusively because you are a woman? Women who are watching, listening, let me know. I can't think of any.
Yeah.
Could be my male privilege. Genuinely, can anyone here think of any? My wife couldn't. No. She said, I'm honestly,
I can't.
I'm never told that I can't have an opinion on any issue.
Anything.
She
Yeah.
said rape, economics, men's health,
Yeah.
any
Yeah.
issue, like all of it.
Well, and this was the thing that she did at the end where she was kind of crying and pointing into the camera saying, it's my body, it's not yours. You could have used that for slaves, and people did. It's my property, not yours.
Right.
Right? That's the same
Yeah.
exact argument that was being used. And it was bad then, too, and it's still bad now.
Right.